Hello everybody, it's been a while since my last video, but seeing as I can't have a cigar, I thought I'd make one. A fair bit's happened in the world since I last made a video. One of the last things, the topic of my last video was talking about the impending referendum on membership of the European Union, and I said that I was going to vote leave. I did. And to be honest, I was pretty surprised at the result. I wasn't expecting it to go the way it did. But you know, sometimes you get surprised. Yeah, the day of the referendum, we went out to see the comedian Bill Bailey at the Reading Theatre, and that was very, very enjoyable. Yeah, we've liked him for a very long time. He's been a regular on QI for years, and yeah, I'd always wanted to see him, but never had the opportunity to. But yeah, he actually was sat in the front row, pretty much right in the middle. So yeah, he talked to us a lot, and got my dad to do a recording for his synthesizer keyboard thing. Yeah, it was amusing. And he did, as expected, talk about the referendum. As far as he was concerned, there was both pros and cons to both sides of the argument, and he wasn't sure which was the best way for Britain to go, and yeah, I mean, that's reasonable enough. I mean, it was a pretty big decision, and you know, there are good things about being a member of the European Union. There are also bad things about being a member of the European Union. So, you know, the vote was put to the people, and I went to bed just as they started the count. It had already had a pretty large majority for Remain when I went to bed. I woke up at 5:30. Took out my iPad, loaded up the BBC app, and started watching the live news channel feed. And to my shock, the BBC was predicting that Leave was going to win. Yeah, and I was pretty shocked. I didn't expect it. And like I said, I voted Leave, but I thought that Remain was going to win by, sort of a similar margin to what it won by in 1974, I think it was. David Cameron resigned. I mean, I wasn't saying that wasn't unexpected, but he had said repeatedly that if Britain votes to leave, that he would remain on as Prime Minister. So yeah, kind of through a bit of a blinder. Of course, we were all I was expecting that Boris Johnson was going to be the next Prime Minister because he was sort of the darling of the Conservative Party, and he was making the right noises, if you know what I mean, for someone who was seriously considering becoming Prime Minister. But because of the way that Cameron did his resignation, I think that Boris lost his bottle and couldn't stomach it. Yeah, we would have expected that Cameron would have invoked Article 50 and started the negotiations, and then once the negotiations were over, he may have resigned and started his, getting ready to hand over to somebody, and I think that's what Boris was expecting as well. But yeah, he completely backed out of the leadership race, and I understand why it wasn't the best situation for him to try and become Prime Minister in. So, I mean, he may possibly try it again in the future, but if I'm honest, I think that's it for Boris. Yeah, he didn't get his moment. And I think now that we've got Theresa May, our second female Prime Minister, in Downing Street, that he's just kind of going to back off from it and be content with being Foreign Secretary. With regards to Mrs. May becoming Prime Minister, my dad hates her. She's been the Home Secretary since the Conservatives came to power under the coalition government in 2010. And yeah, she reformed the police in Britain, and reforms were very unpopular, and she changed the pension scheme that the police were getting. Up until recently, the police in Britain got what I would refer to as gold-plated pensions. They paid a considerable amount of their salary into their pension pot. I think it was 14%, something like that, whereas the average person only pays 3% or something. And at the end of it, what you could do is, once you retired, you would choose two pension schemes. You take either a lump sum, which in my dad's case was £120,000, and you take a reduced pension rate per month. The original idea behind that was that once a police officer had retired, they could use their lump sum to buy a house or put a down payment on a house. But we'd already done that. Or if you elected not to take the lump sum, you could get a very, very decent rate of pension that was almost the same amount that you would have got paid if you just carried on working. My dad took early retirement to avoid the pension changes because if he'd have stayed on for the rest of his term, he could have ended up losing his pension, as he was expecting it to be. So yeah, he took early retirement, took the £120,000 lump sum, and he's got a job now as head caretaker at a special needs school. I mean, I probably mentioned this before, but yeah. So yeah, he hates her for what she did to the police. And also, funnily enough, I'm in the Beaconsfield constituency, and from where I'm sitting now, over there, just over the river, is the Maidenhead constituency, and that is Theresa May's constituency. So the Prime Minister is, she's based out of the next town over from me. But yeah, with regards to us leaving the European Union, everybody was panicking when sterling fell and the market slumped. Everybody was panicking and thinking, oh, it's the end of the world, everything's coming crashing down around our ears. Anyone who knew what the fuck they were talking about was already expecting that. So nothing that has happened as a result of us voting to leave the European Union was unexpected. So yeah, we knew that the pound was going to take a hit. We knew that the markets were going to take a hit. And you just have to ride out the storm. I mean, the pound's still going up and down, but it'll get back up to where it was eventually. You know, we have to tighten our belts a little bit, as the old saying goes. But yeah, I mean, I was fully aware that that was likely to happen as a result of the vote. So yeah, I went in with full knowledge of what my vote meant. Yeah, nothing's really changed as of yet. The people in the EU, they're saber rattling and saying that Britain needs to invoke Article 50 immediately. Some are saying that they need to punish us to make an example for anyone else considering leaving the EU. But yeah, they'd be stupid to do that. The things are actually looking up already. I mean, the day that the vote was announced, Ghana sent a representative to London to start negotiating a free trade agreement, and now Australia has offered one, Canada has offered one, America's offered one, despite saying that they wouldn't. So yeah, we're doing pretty damn all right. New Zealand have offered us their basically all of their top negotiators to help us, plan and coordinate with the EU to negotiate our exit and help negotiate some trade deals around there. So yeah, respect, guys. Thanks for helping us out, cuz. Yeah. So, yeah, things are generally, they're going to be fine. I mean, a lot of people I remember hearing, reading stuff about, whenever anyone in the government was talking about taking us out of the European Court of Human Rights and all of that, we were saying, oh, the Conservatives want to take away our human rights, so, that they can exploit us and all of that. These people don't know shit. We had our own system of human rights before we joined the European Court of Human Rights and became subject to European legislation in terms of human rights. So, yeah, it's just people who hate the Conservative Party talking bullshit. Yeah, we'll just go back to using what we used before, and everything will be fine. and we don't have stupid court cases like the EU, well, Brussels turning around and saying, oh, you can't deport this foreign criminal because it would breach his human rights to be separated from his cat. They actually said that. It was ridiculous. But yeah, we'll be able to deport dangerous criminals. We'll be able to maintain our long-standing assertion that people who on long-term prison sentences should not be allowed to vote, which apparently it breaches their human rights. But to be honest, as far as I'm concerned, as soon as they committed the crime that landed them in prison, they gave up the majority of their rights. Prison is meant to be a punishment and a deterrent, not an extended hotel stay at Her Majesty's pleasure and on Her Majesty's dollar. But yeah, there will be a certain amount of uncertainty for a while, but then things will start evening out once the negotiations start with Brussels and the Prime Minister invokes Article 50. Things will start to get a little bit more clear as to how things are going to turn out and all of that. Yeah. We'll just have to sit tight and see how it turns out. The one thing I'm expecting that's definitely going to affect me as a result of this is I can't remember if I said before, but I was put into the work-related activity group for the employment support allowance, and basically I attempted to appeal against that, but at the end of the day, it would. The person said that there was no guarantee that I would even keep my benefit, let alone be put into the support group. So then I just decided to try it out, because I can always put in for an appeal, and with the backing of the people who have been helping me, they can tell the Department for Work and Pensions, no, he's not suitable for this group, and that might carry a bit extra weight than just my insistence. But yeah. What happens is I get assigned to a company that works with the DWP, and what it's intended to do is primarily they aim to help people who could work, whether they're ill or they've got a broken leg or some sort of ailment or condition that will either heal or can be managed. So that they can find them a suitable working environment and give them skills necessary to find work and so on. I'm not exactly sure what they're going to be doing for me, because I am a very special case. But yeah, that scheme is part funded by the EU. And of course, now that we've voted to leave the EU, that funding will go away. But I was told on the first day, which was the day before the referendum, that the scheme is paid up until next year. So, whatever the result of the referendum, I'd still be able to go through the scheme and everything. There wouldn't be any immediate problems with that. But yeah, I've got an appointment on Thursday. I'm going up there every fortnight at the moment. Unfortunately, the guy that I saw the first time retired not long after I had my meeting with him. So basically the second meeting was mostly going over again what I'd done in the first meeting, because I had a new advisor. But yeah, So that's what's going on with that. There really isn't much else going on at the moment that I can talk about. Yeah, I've had a bit of a problem with my PC because I bought a new graphics card in February, but it turns out that I'm one of the very, very tiny percentage of people that have a motherboard that isn't fully compliant with the graphics card. So it was the various glitches, and it was making my PC crash and so on. So I waited a while to see if the drivers would improve over time, because when you get a new graphics architecture out, those sort of things do happen. There are always problems to start with, but things get better as the driver software matures. They iron out the problems and things usually turn out okay. So that's why I was waiting, because I didn't want to go through the hassle of returning the card when in all likelihood everything would turn out fine. It didn't. So I initiated a return. They said, yeah, it's we verified that there's a problem with it, but because you waited too long, we can't give you a refund, we can only give you a replacement. I wasn't particularly pleased with that, because it's a problem with compatibility. So it's not a fault, it's not a defect in the card, it's all about compatibility. So they sent me another one. It had a different BIOS version. The BIOS is basically the basic, very, very low-level software on the card that helps it interface with the computer and tells it, what to do and everything. AMD released a BIOS update for it to make it fully UEFI compliant. UEFI is the new standard for BIOSes on computer motherboards. And that could help fix the problem, because it is a UEFI problem that's causing the compatibility issues. But I told them that flashing BIOSes to graphics cards is a very thin thing. More often than not, you're going to end up killing whatever it is you're trying to flash it to. But they said because it's an officially provided thing from the manufacturer, if it goes wrong it won't void your warranty and will still honour it. So they're okay, I'll do it. I flashed the new BIOS to the card, restarted the computer, and my computer wouldn't boot. It just wouldn't do anything. Like I turn it would be off, then I turn it on, the fans would come on and start blowing, but nothing would happen. It wouldn't do the power on self test, which it has to do every time it turns on before it can boot into Windows. So basically it was a paperweight. So I sent it back to them, but they plugged it in to their computers, and it was fine, because obviously they've got motherboards that are fully compatible with it. They won't allow me to, they won't give me a refund because I waited too long. They won't replace it with something else. They said that all they can do is either dispose of it or return it to me. Either way, I don't get my money back. So after spending a while going back and forth with emails with them today, I spoke to them on the phone. Basically, what they're going to send me back a card that I can't use, and I'm going to have to try and find someone to sell it to, so I can recoup some of my cost and buy something else. So that is incredibly annoying. I've been using this crappy old Dell with a dual-core CPU, less than half of the RAM of my main computer, and a very terrible graphics card. So I haven't been able to play games. I can only run 2 of my monitors, and it's just slow as hell. But I've had to be doing that for the last few weeks because I haven't been able to use my main PC. So yeah, that's incredibly annoying. They're going to return the card to me, and I'm going to have to try and sell it to somebody. I won't get anywhere near what I spent for it, or paid for it. So the money that I'll have to spend on a replacement graphics card is going to be less than I would need to get something decent. Not a happy bunny. Nothing else has really been going on at the moment. My parents are going to America in a few weeks, so it's just going to be me and my brother in the house on our own. In October or November, I can't remember which, we're going back to Gibraltar again, but that's a bit too far in the future to be talking about now. But yeah, the only other remotely interesting thing that happened was on Saturday. I set my hands on fire accidentally. I went to a charity sale and I bought an old table lighter. I tried to refill it with gas, but there was something wrong with the seal, so when I went to light it, it just like... the whole thing got set on fire. My hands were on fire and everything, but thankfully lighter fluid doesn't burn at a very high temperature. So, when I say butane, butane doesn't burn at a very high temperature. So, it just felt a little bit warm, and it stung for a little bit afterwards. But yeah, that was fun. I haven't set my hands on fire for quite a while. Anyway. Yeah. Hope to talk to you again soon when I've got some more stuff to talk about, but anyway, be seeing you.